All right, guys, so check it out. We're back again at King's Muay Thai. Skylar's here. He's the expert on Muay Thai. So today we're gonna go over the teep kick or push kick and explain a little bit of the difference between dialect and what people say.
Yeah, so the teep is just the Thai way of saying push kick. It's the same thing. You push kick, teep, push kick.
So if I'm in Thailand, right? What are they gonna say for the rear teep kick?
Two ways. Like if they know you can't speak any Thai, probably point and say teep, or they even say push kick, because a lot of Thais, learn some English. But if you're a Thai, then they're gonna say in Thai like so left is sai, right is kwa. So they're gonna be like teep sai, which is just left push kick, right? But yeah, so that's just kind of a little bit of the vocab. The technique is the same.
Gotcha. Okay, so when would we be using this in a fight?
Great question. So just like boxing, they say the jab is your primary weapon. In Muay Thai, that's usually going to be your teep, right? Okay. So your teep is your longest weapon that you got. You want to start using that first because that's going to set up your other strikes. It's going to let you know where you're at compared to your opponent. So you're setting up your range. It's also probably the least riskiest strike because it's so far away. If I mess up the teep from out here, boom. There's not, I'm not looking at a whole lot of counters from that area. You can get countered, don't get me wrong. If you mess up the teep, you can get countered, but it's less dangerous as if I'm inside trying to throw an elbow and I miss, right? And it's definitely something that you want to use against the aggressive opponent that's coming forward. You can use that to stop their aggression. You can also use it to get your opponent into the ropes or into the corner, especially if you're like a Muay Thai fighter, you want to get close to him to clinch. A lot of times people are like, oh, it's counterproductive for me to push kick you here, boom, Like if I'm push kicking you around the ring, but my goal is to get you, bam, push kick you into the ring here, and then from here, I can get in, clinch, grab, Or I can use a fake off of it too, to get in. So the teep, I tell my students, and I tell everyone, probably the most important strike in Muay Thai, outside of the jab. The jab and the teep are two strikes that you want to make sure that you're the best at before you start anything else. So with the rear teep or the rear push kick, what we're going to work on here is first picking our leg up right, okay? So a lot of people mess this teep up because their base leg, so that's the non-kicky leg, they bring it up too high. Now, unless you're trying to teep somebody in the face, you want to keep this leg flat and slightly turned out to open up the hips. Yep. So you want to keep that base leg flat, slightly turned out here. When you go to throw your rear push kick, you're going to bring your knee up, okay? You don't want to just kick your feet up here like this, all right? Reason why is if your opponent brings their elbows in or they get real shut up here, I can break my toes on the elbow, okay? So I got to be real careful when I throw my push kick here that I'm not just kicking my leg up here like this. I want to bring my knee up first, and then I want to extend, all right? I want to extend my push kick out, all right? Now, when I do this, I don't want to use the whole foot, right? So when you're here like this, look at the range here. I'm a lot closer to you. Your leg's more bent. You're just not in a good position. And also too, you go to push off. So push off. Usually you're going to go back. We don't want to do that, right? We want to push kick our opponent and they need to go back. So that's why it's so important to hit with the toes and the ball only. So when you go to push kick, right? You bring that knee up. Bring that knee up, and then you push with the toes. That'll allow you to dig in, push your opponent back. Good. Some people will keep their hands up, and they won't move them at all. They'll just keep their guard up for protection. I like to get my arm coming down a little bit. That'll help get me more hip into the teep. Usually, if you're here like this and kind of static, it'll take away from your power a little bit. So when we're throwing this here, keep your lead hand up, but your rear hand, kind of let it come down natural, You don't have to throw it down like on a kick here, but you don't have to keep it up here. You can let it come down natural and focus on getting the glutes, the hips to drive forward on that. Good. When we talk about accuracy, and this is super important, especially with our push kicks, I like to use the knee as like a scope on a rifle for my teep or my push kick. So what I mean by that is, if I want to teep Phil right here, okay, right here in the center of his body, I'm going to make sure that when I bring my knee up, my kneecap is pointing right to that area. A lot of guys, when they're throwing their push kick, they won't be as accurate, and especially when you're sweaty, they'll go to throw the push kick here, and it'll slide off, and then now it can be dangerous, especially if I'm putting a lot of weight in my push kick, and I go forward. So it's very, very important that I use my knee as like a gauge. So like, if I'm wanting you to work on your accuracy with your teep, all right, and I'm saying like, all right, Phil, I want you to hit this little marker right here, I want you to bring your kneecap to that spot. Yes, good, good. And see, that will allow you to get more accurate with your teeps. So that's your basic rear teep. Now, we can go a little bit more in depth with this, okay? Because you got your lead teep too, and then you got your southpaw. Right now, I'm orthodox. That's gonna affect which teep I use. So right now, we're standing orthodox to southpaw. So this is my open side. I wanna use this rear teep. So you're gonna have more real estate to hit. Usually here is gonna be more closed off, so I'm not gonna use it as much, but there is a technique we're gonna work on here in a second. Now let's say I'm southpaw just like Phil. Now Phil's gonna wanna use his lead teep here because now this is the open side. And the same technique here. We're gonna pick our leg up, all right, and then throw the teep. Two ways I can do this. Number one, I can get close enough to where all I gotta do is just pick my leg up and push kick here, or if I'm a little bit further back, I'm gonna bring my back leg up a little bit and then use that to cover my space and then throw the teep there. So those are my two options with the lead. So I like to use the lead hand kind of a gauge, so if he's touching me here, he can pretty much just pick it. Boom, there you go. Good. Now I'm a little bit further back. Phil's gonna move his back leg first. And boom, there you go, and you can teep like that. Now let's go back to orthodox southpaw. We can use the lead teep to help us get an angle on the outside. Because usually whether you defend it or not, doesn't matter. I'm using this to help me get off here, to get a better angle to set up my strikes. So we'll go ahead and do that. So you're just gonna teep kind of like right in this area here. Yes, and good, and then get off here. So even if I try to grab it, or I try to mess with it, or I try to scoop it here, you go to teep here, you already got that angle, boom, now you got an opportunity to throw your next strike.
I'm aiming more towards the hip on this.
Yeah, you're gonna aim more towards like the hip area here. Why? Because it's easier to move the hip.
Yeah.
It's easier to come here and then come here, because if I try to use my lead here, I'm gonna slide off most of the time, right? And then I'm in a bad spot. Typically speaking, when I'm throwing my push kick, my teep here, when I teep here, I wanna come back into my stance. Unless you're doing this type of teep here where you're trying to get that angle, where boom, and you're gonna come off to the side with it. So you're gonna throw that push kick kind of right in this area here, and then drop your leg on the outside of my, boom, now good, you got that angle. You can have a jab and a teep and that's it, and win a lot of fights.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you know when and where, what teep to throw, what teep not to throw. Very important. It's not just one size fits all.
It's the Muay Thai version of a jab.
Correct. Correct.
Typically in boxing, you're more bladed.
Correct,
right?
yeah.
So with Muay Thai, you're a little bit more squared up, right?
Square, yeah.
So if I'm gonna throw my jab, am I still throwing it like a boxing jab, or am I just more shuffling it?
So you could do both.
Okay.
I personally, when I throw my jab and I teach my fighters, I turn in a little bit. Like you can throw it like that, but if I want to get a hard, good jab on somebody, there's going to be a little bit of rotation in, but I have to bring my foot back. The problem is a lot of guys that have heavy boxing backgrounds and they have that habit, they get in here and then they just kind of fall back into their boxing stance where their foot's here, and that's perfect to light up with the low kick.
Gotcha. Parrying and then just blasting.
But I do like turning the hip a little bit, on the toes a little bit when I throw my jab. I just always make sure that I return back to this square stance so I can defend. We're gonna fake a leg, and then we're gonna throw the teep on the other side. Like if you've already been throwing the lead teep, right? We start out the fight, boom, you throw your lead teep, boom, here, I'm trying to defend it here. This is when I can now start faking it, because I'm already biting on it, I'm already trying to grab, yes. So I can use that fake teep to get close, or what I can do is I can use that fake teep here, bam, and I can teep. You can go, I could spend 2 hours talking about the push kick. It's so deep.
Make sure you go ahead and sign up for the Fight Life app. We got tutorial videos for Muay Thai with Skylar in there, so check that out.
You want to bring this up high to get your opponent to react. So I tell people, bring your knee past your waistband. Bring your knee past your waistband. A little tip I like to tell people is point your toes. It makes it faster to bring up your leg. The thing about fakes, if you do them right, they're undefendable. It doesn't matter how good you are, because you're doing a technique. I'm trained to try to defend it, right? So if you do the fake right, then you're going to have them bite. Now, how long they bite on it depends on how skilled the fighter is. But if you do it correctly here, boom, they bite, you're going to have a split second to land that rear teep off that. Yes, good, perfect. Good job. Good job. All right. Another great kind of hybrid teep is trying to get the liver with the toes. But you got to pay attention to their guard. So if their guard's up here, it's really wide, their elbows are out, this would be a good opportunity to try to throw this teep. Now, if they have a tighter guard here, you're gonna wanna be careful because you can break your toes. So you're not really pushing here, you're like up kicking the liver. You're up kicking the liver.
Stabbing.
Yeah, you're stabbing them, so you're not like, I'm not bringing it out here and pushing it in, right? I'm not going here and here. All I'm doing is like, bop. Ideally, I want to get the toe, like I want to point my toe when I do it too, and drive my big toe into here. You got to be careful when you're training it too, because you can, if it's on a heavy bag or even sometimes on a pad, you could break your toe. This is I've seen a lot of guys get dropped in sparring with this technique. It's more difficult for me to do it because he's southpaw, he's turned. But for Phil here, because I'm open on this side, all he's got to do is just bring that rear leg up. Bam! Yeah. It's not comfortable at all, man. It really sucks. Even going light, it sucks. It's not fun at all. Yeah, right there. Good. Yeah, perfect. Good. One more. Yes. So that would be like the liver push kick, but like I said before, it's advanced because you can't always do it. If they got their elbows in, you're gonna risk breaking your toes. But if their hands are out a little bit or they're tired, right? They're not conditioned properly, they didn't do the right proper strength and conditioning, they came to the fight and it's towards the end of the round and they're kind of like tired, that would be a perfect opportunity to try to land that.
All right, guys, so there you have it. T-kick, push kick, the jab for Muay Thai, right? A lot
Absolutely.
of versions of them.
Yep.
We did a lot, the advanced and the beginner version. What do you think as far as volume?
Ideally, probably at least 3 days a week. If you want to really get good at it, 3 days a week, maybe like give yourself Monday, Wednesday, Friday, give yourself a day in between to kind of recover. Because when you first start throwing these push kicks a lot, your hip flexors are going to be screaming. But you want to make this like your jab, you need to train it a lot. So I would ideally start with 200 a day, 3 days a week, work your way up to 500. And maybe even work your way up to doing it like 4 days a week.
All right, there you have it. If you want to go ahead and check out some of the tutorial videos we have on the Fight Life app with Skyler, make sure you check it out. The link is in the description now. Available on iPhone and Android. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification. Make sure you follow Skyler, Kings Muay Thai, YouTube and Instagram, right?
Yes.
Perfect. We'll put it down below. See you guys next time.